So there is Rob the Wanderer's channel, right? Let's just play
Mhm.
a little bit of his video. So he's walking around BGC right now. I guess he's going around Asia, and he's asking foreigners some reaction on living in BGC, or I mean
Yeah,
living in the
and the
Philippines.
Philippines in general.
And I was wondering if you had any thoughts. Being both of us being Filipino and all. Let's just play just a little bit of it so we could get a feel of how it's going with this video.
Can I ask you a question? I'm doing a video on friendships. I'm filming a video about friendships. Video on friendships. You want to begin it?
Right. So he just comes up to these people and asks them, pretty much random questions, I
Right,
guess. And then,
right.
of course, it's interesting though, because one of the commenters said it's an interesting video because it's a foreigner actually talking to other foreigners, so you get their foreigner reaction.
Correct.
Not giving them the tourist or the friendly version because they're talking to a Filipino. That parang some of the Filipinos that are reacting to his videos find it
Mhm.
interesting because it's two foreigners talking about the Philippines. So let's
Right,
just play
right.
a little bit of how that dynamic
My
goes.
experience so far, when this is where you feel the loneliness, I think, because
Yeah.
you don't have anyone to share your real inner thoughts or someone who would like truly hug you tightly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I
like
get it. Yeah.
to get the feeling of someone just hugging you. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, more like superficial, I think.
yeah, I get it.
I've been feeling signs of like anxiety. I want to get out. I want to see
Yeah,
everything. But
yeah.
other than like loneliness, no, not really. If I was by myself, I would probably be a little lonely. I probably, but the people here are actually kind of friendly. Even though they don't just walk up to you like, hey, how you doing? But they I get a lot of stirs.
Yeah.
So,
I can imagine. I can imagine. If you felt any
You
sense of
actually,
loneliness
can you pause it real quick?
or
Yeah.
So that guy actually made a good point. Like in the Philippines, unlike everywhere else in the world, really, Philippines is one of those places where actually a lot of people that you would think would actually just go up to you and just say hi. You know, with all honesty, here in the States, walking around in the streets, you're not going to get a lot of people or everyday people just saying, "Hey, how are you?" or "Good morning." It's rare, you know.
Mm-mm.
In the Philippines, on the other hand,
Mm-mm.
if you have that attitude where you can walk around and just say, "Hey, how are you?" you get the response, or they will do that to you the same way. Here in America, I don't know elsewhere. I don't know anywhere else in the world, but in the States, honestly, even if you give a accommodating gesture or a polite gesture like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" a lot of times you don't get the same response. So I can see where that guy's coming from.
Are people trying to act like they're all from New York or something? How are people reacting generally? Like suspicious? Are they sus?
In a way, yeah. They are kind of being sus, or I don't know. They just question things too much. The idea of maybe simple politeness that people are capable of, it
Mm.
just doesn't resurrect anymore to most people around here. Just like the other day or a couple of days ago, we were at a softball game, and my wife was just, she saw another Asian mom walking around cheering for our daughter and our daughter's team because of her daughter playing in the same softball team, and she gave a smile to her, but nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
It's even towards the stands. I turned around like, hey, go like that. Nothing. People would just give me a blank stare. Like it was kind of weird. I don't think I wouldn't consider it being rude from their part, but so I can see where that guy's coming from. I could definitely see it.
I think it's cool. I don't know. This is what I wanted to get into. I don't know if it's cultural, what do you call it? Colonial mentality or what, but people I think are generally, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think it's generally a good thing. Uh, that people are generally happy to see a foreigner because we don't get to see foreigners all the time, I guess. Or that if I do say hi, if I do
Mhm.
say hi, I think my fellow Filipino friends, if they do say hi to a foreigner, parang they know that the foreigner won't find it weird. So mas malakas yung loob. We have a, how do you say mas malakas yung loob in English? I have a higher confidence knowing that the foreigner is not going to find it weird that I say hi to them.
Right. I know what you're
Because
saying. Now
because
there
we
is a
know that
flip side to
foreigners
that.
also say hello. What's the flip side? What do you mean?
The flip side of that is, and Filipinos here in the States don't
Mm,
exactly do that to fellow Filipinos, if that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah.
You know,
That's weird, isn't it?
it is. It's kind of like a different dynamic, though, to be
I,
honest
rem-
with you, because
I remember when I met you in high school.
yeah,
You were one of those few people because I did meet like high school friends that I met up with them and then I tried to speak English, Tagalog to them, like
mm,
uy, kababayan, like they
mm,
didn't, they did like they were like, we're in the States now. You can speak to me in English, parang ganon.
yeah, yeah,
You were one of those rare Filipino friends that I met up with, and then you were like, you were like you would adjust to my, like if I tried to be friendly, you'd be equally friendly. If I was
correct.
mean, you'd just be equally mean. Like with the other Filipino friends that I meet, I try to be friendly, and then they're like, "Why do you need to be so friendly? We're in the States now." You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
stick
yeah.
to that dynamic.
I've always been so. I actually approached you, as far as I can remember, and asked you to play ball with us because we need another player, right?
Mm,
Now, I've always been like I wouldn't say like an accommodating person, but more like I wouldn't BS you type of thing. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
So when that the approach that I had with you, it kind of applies to me nowadays still, because I try to be, I guess, try to make a little bit more comfort for people when they approach me, type of thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But again, with Filipinos to Filipinos here, like you said, I do notice even Filipinos here when they do hang out with foreigners at like gatherings or Filipino parties and whatnot, they're like, "Hey, hi, did you eat? Did you eat here? This is good." But when they
Concern.
won't do the exact same thing to Filipinos, not
Yeah.
everybody. I'm not saying
For
not every Filipinos, to be honest with you.
for Filipinos, they just say, "Ano, kumain ka na? Kumain ka na dyan." Oh.
Right, right, right. In my case, yung mga Filipino parties that I go to, majority of the time, unfortunately, the experience or the initial reaction was kind of like I said before, like, "Oh, hi," and then
Mm. Or do they say,
that was
"Nandito na naman yung mga Jason
oh,
and family. Nako, kung di sila
yeah.
makasira, kakain na naman lang yan dito, tapos biglang aalis na."
May
Tas
dala yatang Tupperware kagad, oh. Tingnan mo.
magte-take out pa. O, kita mo?
So
Pamilya ni Jason.
yeah, so for the most part, yeah, and most Filipino parties that I've actually experienced here, yeah, it's
Mm.
kind of like that, and it sucks,
Ano, dito na naman kayo, kakain na naman kayo, tapos bigla na
Oh,
naman kayong aalis. Di na naman kayo
although
magpapaalam.
the flip side on that, on the other Filipino gatherings that I've attended that are over accommodating, not
Mm.
in a bad way, like they'll really attend to every person that walked in, including us when we walked in. Like I attended this birthday party that we didn't even know directly, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Mm.
we literally just got invited by acquaintance, meaning the friend was invited and then the friend invited us, Filipino
Mm.
friend.
Mm.
Huge Filipino party, by the way. And everybody was just nice in that
Mm.
household. You know, they
Mm.
they would like talk to us for, "Hey, hi, how are you? How do you know yada yada yada?" You know, "Oh
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah." And then we're Filipinos too, and we'd talk Tagalog here and there, but um, it's really nice to have the flip side of that, to be able to experience both sides. Pero I
Gosh.
think if I walk around BGC, for example, and do what he's doing, I'm gonna have a little bit of a hard time. I probably wouldn't get the same
Honest answers.
honest answers. Or if I interview Filipinos in BGCs that way, for example, I might get the same answers if I interview foreigners. But as a Filipino walking around in BGC and asking fellow Filipinos, I probably won't be embraced the same way.
I find it extra sweet, by the way, that you remember how we met, right? Basketball.
Okay.